As humans, we have an unexplainable fascination with the macabre. Stories that will frighten us and leave us tossing, turning, and double-checking that there are no monsters under our beds. Safe to say that books are a major catalyst in the fascination with fear, ghost stories that embedded their way into our minds. From The Woman in Black to The Turn of the Screw, they've become so well known for invoking fear, but let's talk about the lesser known ones today, the ones that don't receive the attention they deserve. So today on Top 5 Scary Videos, we're going to be counting down the top 5 scary books you should avoid reading. Before we begin, be sure to stick around until the end of the video where I'll be responding to some of your comments. Let's jump in. Coming in at 5, The Haunting of Hill House, Shirley Jackson. Now, you may be surprised I included this book on our list, considering it jumped up in popularity following the release of the Netflix series of the same name. However, prior to this, the book wasn't as popular amongst all audiences, and was a lesser known ghost story that certainly deserves our attention. When we think about horror story cliches, we think haunted houses. It's the top of the list, an idea done so often it's frequently parodied. However, Shirley Jackson brought something entirely new with her book, The Haunting of Hill House, which is simply the best haunted house story ever written to date. Fact. Released back in 1959, Hill House is a gothic horror that tells the story of 4 seekers who arrive at a notoriously haunted house, under the order of Dr. Montague, an occult scholar looking for evidence of a haunting. At first, their stay seems destined to be nothing but a spooky encounter. However, Hill House is gathering its power and eventually chooses one of them to make its own. Guess who? It's an easy guess. Now, the book is vastly different to the show and arguably better, so if you want a fright, you should definitely check it out, even though this list is books you should avoid. But where's the fun in that? Coming in at 4, The Cipher, Kathe Koja. First published back in 1991 by Kathe Koja during a period of time where it was becoming clear that the likes of Stephen King weren't the future of horror fiction. So Koja took advantage of this by stripping the genre down to the basics. The Cipher tells the story of a black hole that spontaneously appears in the floor of a couple's apartment in Detroit. And of course, dreadful things begin to happen. Nicholas and Dakota are forced to set out to see what happens when they drop various items into the hole. But as they do, they discover everything they drop down comes back violently rearranged. Now, this book is a tough one to track down these days, but the only way to get a hold of it is in ebook form, which is no fun at all. Here's hoping that publisher will eventually bring it back into print. They would be doing us all an invaluable service. Coming in at 3, The Green Man, Kingsley Amis. Published back in 1969 by British author Kingsley Amis, The Green Man is often described as being 3 genres of novel in one: ghost story, moral fable, and comic novel. It is essentially a pastiche of a Jameson ghost story by a hardcore fan. The story follows Maurice Allingston, a man who has reached middle age and is haunted by death. It opens with Maurice's father dropping dead and continues as friends and family convene for the funeral. Now, his problems are many and increasing throughout the story. How to deal with his own declining health, how to reach out to a teenage daughter who watches TV all the time, how to find another drink, and then of course, death. It's a ghost story but also a black comedy. It's confusing, yes, but also one of the best books on our list, and certainly worthy of your attention if you dare. Coming in at 2, The Ritual, Adam Nevill. If you're familiar at all with the Netflix film of the same name, you'll be surprised to see this on our list, and so high. Now, that's not me diminishing the film in any way, but once again I'm straying from the popular and focusing on the unknown. Now, The Ritual of course gained notoriety after the release of the film, but prior to that it was a hidden horror gem. The book follows 4 old university friends as they set off into the Scandinavian wilderness of the Arctic Circle in an attempt to reconnect with one another and escape their problems. However, tensions begin to arise within the group, and with little experience between them, a shortcut during their hike turns into a nightmare scenario that could cost them all of their lives. Things descend into madness when the group stumbles across an old habitation. Ancient artifacts decorating the wall and bones scattered upon the floor. It's haunting, and the last quarter of the book departs radically from what happened leading up to it, and the ending does not arrive until the final sentence of the book. It's chilling and just downright perfect. And finally, coming in at number 1, The Beckoning Fair One, Oliver Onions. Oliver Onions is among the greatest practitioners of the traditional English ghost story in the Silver Age. What tells these stories apart from more recent horrors is that they are not crude, they are slow and subtle. The Beckoning Fair One tells the story of a young down-and-out novelist who leases rooms in a decaying house, in the hopes of completing his masterpiece. However, as all classic ghost stories go, he discovers that he is not alone. But what makes this story truly frightening is that he is happy about it. Now, much like our previous numbers, The Beckoning Fair Fair One is a little tricky to track down, but the best way to obtain it is by purchasing a copy of Anita Miller's anthology, 4 Classic Ghostly Tales, in which it appears alongside other masterpieces. Well, there we have it. Do you guys agree with our list? Are there any scary books that we missed, fiction or non-fiction? Leave us all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below, and perhaps we can do a part 2. Before I go though, I just want to respond to a few comments from one of our last videos. Top 5 mysteries solved by YouTubers. Prince Ali 91 said, "I think we can all agree that the biggest mystery is the mystery of Lucy McPhee." Ain't that the truth? Lakin said, "You are so funny and kind, may God bless you." Bless up. Thanks. Preach. Thomas Lamb 5 said, "Lucy looking like a gorgeous vampire in this video. Oh, so sweet. I loaded up on that sweet blood over the weekend." Stephen Mercado said, "Lucy, there is something I gotta tell you. I'm the devil. I'm the angel who led a rebellion against my father God. I was banished to hell after when I ruled as king over the souls of the damned." Well, fuck. If you haven't already, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another scary vid. And until next time, see you later.